Hey there, Pod Pals. Are you a print-on-demand creator looking to stay ahead of the curve? You want to know exactly when to launch your designs for every key season and event? How about a chuckle with an extra dad joke to brighten your day? If you said yes to any of these, then it's time to join the Print on Demand Cast VIP list. As a VIP, you'll get our free annual design calendar, an amazing guide to help you time your creations perfectly throughout the year. And of course, we'll include a bonus dad joke each week as well. Signing up couldn't be easier. Just visit printondemandcast.com/VIP and enter your email. Don't let another day of potential pass you by. Become a part of the VIP list, grab your annual design calendar, and let's dive into a year of inspired creating together. We'll see you on the other side.
Welcome back to the Print on Demand Cast. In today's episode, we're going to talk about and answer the question, can you really start a print on demand business for free? Let's get into it.
Radical! Welcome to this week's episode of the Print on Demand Cast. Each week, join the gnarly Travis and Josiah as they provide insight into the print on demand industry and equip you with the totally tubular tools, advice, and strategies you need to achieve success and hopefully have a few laughs along the way. Now on to this week's Totally Tubular show.
Welcome back to the Print on Demand Cast, your go-to source for education, tips, tools, tricks, entertainment, dad jokes, and the like. Welcome back to the show. It's great to be with you guys. Joining me, as always, is Travis Ross from Make Your Mark Design. Travis, how is things going for you? I know you're anticipating some travel in your future, but how is your day? How is your week thus far?
Going okay. It's Tuesday morning, so as we record this, so it hasn't been much of a week yet, but I am leaving Thursday for New Jersey, for Atlantic City, for the Impressions Expo. Did the Long Beach one in January, and now headed out to New Jersey. Going to be speaking again on print on demand. And so if you are going to be in the area, grab yourself an expo ticket, come and say hi, hit me up on the Facebook group or send me an email or something and say, hey, I'd love to, hang out or at least shake your hand or something like that, because I would love to shake your hand. But yeah, it's going to be a good time. I've already connected with a couple of people that I know from Long Beach that are also going to be there, a couple presenters, and one guy that probably will be on the show eventually. He's got a big screen printing operation, and we'll talk more about that when we actually get him on the show. But because he does a lot of cool things with marketing, so basically it's not just about screen printing, it would be more about marketing, and that obviously kind of translates to screen printing or print on demand and all of that. But so that's so far my week, just trying to shore things up. It's going to be a short week, so I got to get everything done before I get on the plane Thursday morning. How about you?
Be efficient and get things knocked out. My week, again, like you said, it's Tuesday morning, so far so good. Who knows what the rest of this week will hold, but up until this point, it's been pretty even keel. Nothing too crazy yet. So, which is nice. Last week, the first 2 days of last week were absolutely nuts. So it's nice to have a reprieve from that pace, but it comes in waves. So, excited to be chatting this week about, can you really start a print on demand business for free? I feel like that's a question that we hear, or there's a lot of assumptions. And I have a friend who a couple of weeks ago was like, hey, you used to do this. I hear that you can do it for free and make loads of money, but can you? That's what we're going to talk about in this week's main event. But before we get to this week's main event, of course, we have got everyone's favorite segment of the show, the weekly dad joke.
Time for the weekly dad joke. All right, Josiah, this one was yours. So you get to do this one this week.
Yeah. So, it's finally getting nice outside. Last week, we had some snow, and so it looks like it might be the third phase of deceptive spring. That being said, wanted to take advantage of the nice weather that we're having, and thought maybe we would go on a walk, go hiking. So I actually made a playlist for hiking specifically the other day. It's got music from Peanuts, the Cranberries, and Eminem. Yeah, I call it my trail mix. And that's this week's weekly dad joke. As always, you guys are more than welcome to use it around the water cooler and let us know how it went for you. So we also have a new segment we had 2 weeks ago. Didn't have one last week, but we have one this week. And so this week's last week's today. Follow that. Figure that out. Follow the thread. It's our new segment for this week's episode called Last Week Today. All right, Travis. So we've got something we shared on our social media in real form from last week's episode that didn't make the actual episode, and you'll see why here in just a second. But it was so funny that it happened that we thought, well, let's just share it for this week's last week's today. Yeah, so here we go. This is the clip from our show, a blooper, a literal blooper reel, if you saw it on Instagram. So here we go. The Print on Demand cast. This week, the main event is Systemize Your Path to Print on Demand Profits. So let's get into it.
You moved it. No, I just literally just always go the first two, and so you moved it.
Yeah, we should keep that though. We should don't restart.
Okay.
Don't
Bonus content.
All right, so there is that. Travis, a little, I guess, some explanation for those why it was so funny that it happened. Here in the software that we use to record and produce the show, we have some sound bumpers and background music, which you all are aware of because we use them all of the time.
Let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
For example, that one, and we've got tons of them that we just have at our disposal. So typically, the doorbell sound that you guys hear at the top of the show is top of the list because obviously it's the first thing that we use. The second sound that we use is the intro that you guys hear. Last week, for whatever reason, I'm not sure what happened, but I moved this to the second slot. And so Travis, just by habit, it always clicks the first two. And so he hit the doorbell, and then I did the opening line, and then he thought he was going to go hit the intro and hit the drum, the little joke punch there. So that's why we found it to be so entertaining, and we decided we should probably share that with everybody because we are podcast professionals, but we're not exempt from the occasional faux pas like that one, which was actually really funny.
That's correct. Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was great. Yeah, we have so many things, in our little, playlist.
I got a fever.
Yeah, a lot.
That was awesome.
And
it just goes on and on and on.
Yeah, we didn't use them nearly enough. And there's some that we never have the occasion to use, like Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? Which is my favorite, one of my favorites, but there's no occasion to ever use it except for that's why I had to play it. It was the one chance we have. So that was that was this week's last week today. And so we're going to move on to another segment that is more familiar to all of you called The Point of Interest. We haven't had one of these in a while, but we have one this week.
Point of interest.
That was awesome.
It was nice. I like that addition to the very end of that. Certainly one of our more one of my favorite bumpers that we've ever produced. But so Travis, you were talking to me about what we have in store for this week's Point of Interest because you're actually going to be laying eyes, possibly even hands,
hopefully
on this new DTG/DTF hybrid printer from Epson. So let's talk about this a little bit because there's a couple things that are pretty fascinating about this particular piece of equipment. Chief amongst them is the price tag,
Right.
and also the footprint. So let's dig into it a little bit, but tell us what you know, what you have known, what you've seen so far about the Epson SureColor 1070. Yes, it's a series of numbers, just like the 3070 and the 2100, and it's all very. Just be sure that if you ever like, I want the 1070, make sure you say 1070. Don't say 3070 because it's going to be a much higher price tag when you go to check out that particular order.
Too.
But exactly. So yeah, Travis, what's going on with the Epson SureColor 1070 hybrid printer?
Yeah. So if you know anything about like kind of commercial grade DTG machines, pretty much all of them were, starting, at 15,000, and then you go up, and for instance, the 3070s, like I think it's 50,000 or 55,000 with the white glove.
Yeah.
The Brother GTX Pro and Bulk and all of these different machines are all in the 20s, 30s, 40s. The cheapest one really, there's like a Ricoh I think you could get for like 20,000, but the cheapest one really was kind of like that F2100, which is what we both started with, and you could get those used, pretty reasonable. And I think they've dropped the price down to almost like $11,000 or $12,000 now for a new one. So, but this 1070 just announced, I don't know, probably two months ago. I didn't even realize it was announced. It was probably at the Long Beach show and I just totally missed it.
Sure.
But I think that might've been the debut, because a lot of times they do debut a lot of their new equipment at those shows. However, I just found out about it recently, and it's literally the starting pack delivered to your door is $7,000 for this hybrid. And it's really interesting. It comes with, what do they call, what's the Garment Creator 2, which was the one that they like inserted the DTF capability into like natively. And in Garment Creator 1, you had to like add a line of code into it to get the button to like mirror the image, which you have to do in DTF. But the crazy thing about this is the dimensions on this machine are 35 inches wide, 28 deep, and 17 inches tall. I mean, it's like, it's a baby. It's just this little teeny tiny
the
thing.
print size is 10 by 12, as opposed to typically we were looking like about 16 by 14, like for that like for a 2100 platinum.
The large is 16. 16 by 20 is the large platen that you get on a 2100 or a 3070 or any of these, a lot of these other machines out there. But this one, so it actually comes with the small platen. So, which is like, say, it says right there, 10 by 12, which is pretty dang small. The cool thing about it is if you watch a video on it, you can like, there's no plugins in the back. All the plugins are in the front. So you can like shove it all the way up against a wall and in a corner if you want, because all of the drawers for your inks and your maintenance cartridges and your plugins are all in the front there.
Right there.
Which is kind of cool. It really does, save a lot of space. I mean, you're going to get what you pay for. $7,000. It's still a lot. And you are getting a lot for that. You're getting a massive ability to do awesome things. But 10 by 12 is, that's a smaller image. So you may not be able to do like a lot, some of the things that you would want to do with like that 16 by 20 platen. And then the other thing is the speed.
The
slow.
Speed, that's going to be, you see here, let's see if we can get a little bit larger view here, but you can see the speed in minutes for a full size 10 by 12 print. There's different modes, and you're going to be able to control these in Garment Creator, right? So you can set the speed of the print or the quality of the print before you send it from the computer to the printer to actually put on the garment. So speed mode, you're looking at 1 minute and 20 seconds for light garments, 2 minutes and 40 seconds for dark garments, and 2 minutes and 46 seconds for direct to film. That, and then high quality mode for a black t-shirt, you're looking at over 5 minutes for that thing to print. So if you are in a position where you're trying to do a lot of volume or you're trying to move quickly, this might not be a good fit. Now, granted, this is probably an entry-level printer, right? So it'd be something that you'd probably graduate from once you get into the realm of doing high volume, because this just isn't sustainable. It's kind of like the 2100 that we both had. Eventually we realized we need two, because this is going to be forever. So yeah, the timing part of it is going to be tough just because of how long it takes to print.
To contrast, like a F3070, which again is 50 grand new, it could do a full color black t-shirt on a 16 by 20 platen, not a 10 by 12, but a 16 by 20.
Right.
It could do that in under a minute. Versus 5 minutes on this guy. So, I guess if you do the speed mode, it's only 2.5 minutes, but obviously it's just going to have one head. So it's going to have to lay all the white down, and then it's going to come back and it's going to lay the color on top for DTG, and the opposite for DTF. But great, cool, really cool entry-level printer. The other thing that we have to talk about that we discovered is the price of the ink. So one of the cool things about graduating from the 2100 to the 3070 for me was literally 60% savings in inks, because the the F2100, also the F2000, which the 2100 is just a upgraded version of the 2000. It was a cartridge based system, and each of those cartridges was like $215, and I think it was it 600 milliliters, I think, for those cartridges. And of course, since it's a cartridge, it doesn't totally drain, and so you leave a little bit of milliliter, a little ink in there, but and it says, oh, there's nothing left in here, and you're like, yes, there is, and you'd have to shake them to try to get as much life out of them as you could. And when we graduated to the 3070, we all of a sudden got 1.5 liter bags for about the same price, just a little bit more. And so it basically was like a 50 to 60% savings over, for the ink. These guys, for this 1070, I was looking up this ink, and it's, first of all, they are bags, which is cool. It's a bulk ink system, but those bags are only 250 milliliters, and they cost $120 a pop. So to get from the 125 or 250 milliliter to the 1.5 liter, it would cost you $720, more than 3 times the cost of ink. So I don't know. That's a lot. Now, if you are doing DTF, you do lay down less ink. You lay down thinner layers because you don't want it to run and all of that. And so if you're doing more DTF, it could potentially, save you a lot as opposed to doing DTG with this machine. But at the end of the day, it's the cheapest DTF machine, or DTG/DTF hybrid I've ever seen. And I'm hopefully going to see it in New Jersey, and maybe we'll do an update next week. Of course, we'll talk about the impression show, but maybe we'll do a little bit of update on this machine once I've actually laid eyes on it and asked all of my questions to the reps. Because I don't think Epson's going to be there, but I think like All American's going to be there. I think all of the usual suspects, supply Equipment Zone, they have it. All these guys are Epson dealers, so they'll probably have the machine because they're supposed to be shipping next month in April. So they're probably trying to get those pre-orders in right now by having that machine at all their shows. That would be my guess.
Yeah. So looking forward to, if you see that next week, or if, take some video, or if it's even operating, who knows what they'll be doing. Sometimes they're operating, sometimes they're just there to look at. But yeah, definitely we'll have some more information next week when we go over the recap of the impression show and how that all went there in New Jersey. So go to the Jersey Shore. Yeah. All right.
I don't know how to do that accent.
I don't know. I should be going with you in case you run into some shady characters. But all right, so with that being said, like you have all heard up until now, the main event we're going to talk about: can you start a print-on-demand business for free? We have the answer, possibly, on the other side of this unnecessary main event bumper.
Main event, 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 main event.
All right, Travis, this is a question that I think you and I run into a lot when people are wanting to kind of learn more about what print on demand is, what it requires of someone in terms of, skin in the game, and what do I have to do, or how little can I invest in order to make this thing actually come off the ground? And I think a lot of it, stems from some maybe either misinformation or misnomers that's out there on YouTube and the internet about how easy this industry can be. And it's like, when I'm scrolling through TikTok, it's like, hey, you want to make $500,000 off of one
Right.
design that cost me nothing? So a lot of it is just fielding some of that reaction to those people who are, selling something or underselling, what it takes to make this work. So I guess, we all want to get results faster, ultimately.
Yeah.
So the answer is, there is a free version, I guess, you can do, but a lot of things that are at your disposal from a tool standpoint to help you grow and expand quicker are going to cost something or have a price tag attached to it in terms of a monthly subscription or whatever that looks like. So we just want to kind of have a discussion for you, the listener, as to what is actually truly needed to get started, and is it actually free? So I guess, Travis, the first question is, out of the box, what do you need? What do you need to start a print-on-demand company?
Yeah, I mean, like we mentioned, or like you mentioned, you can technically do it free, and we'll talk about like how you could do that like at the end. But there are a lot of things that you absolutely have to have, but there's also things that will make you get your results faster and allow you to speed things up. And I mean, that's really like the cornerstone of pretty much all business. You're solving a problem, and all of these softwares or these tools, they're all solving a problem. And most of them are solving the problem of, I want to be more efficient. I want to do more with my time. I want to do more with less time. All of those kind of problems that these equipment manufacturers or software manufacturers are solving. That's the reason you've got a F1070 and you have an F3070, and the cost difference between those two things, because one will do it a lot faster. You can do a lot more with a lot less. And so it costs more. So, what do you need? I mean, obviously the first thing you need, you need a computer, I guess technically you don't need a computer. You could do it on your phone. I've never done that, but
stressful.
yeah, that would be stressful. But regardless, computer or phone, you'd need an internet connection. And that's, again, doesn't necessarily have to cost you anything. I mean, Starbucks has free Wi-Fi, public libraries have free Wi-Fi. They also have computers. So, but you're going to need, some type of way to connect to the internet where all of these platforms that you're going to be selling on exist. So that's the first one. And then the next one is kind of the logical next step. You need some way to create those designs. Right. So a design software of some sort. It could be as simple as a lot of people are using Canva these days, because Canva is really taken the design world by storm. They just continually add new features. And for $100 a year for their pro plan, you can export things with transparent backgrounds, and you have access to tons and tons of pictures and templates and things like that you can only get if you pay. But you don't have to pay for that software. And there's other, you could, if you don't want to do it yourself, you could outsource it to Fiverr or, all the usual suspects. We've talked about all of that. But there's a lot of actual, there's a lot of softwares out there too that you can use. It sounds like, yep, I'm not supposed to say this online, but since Josiah sabotaged me the other week when I was talking about the egg, I'm going to tell everyone that he just texted me and said he had to leave because he needs to go to the bathroom. He must have had too much coffee this morning. So I'm supposed to keep talking. Anyway, back to design software. Photoshop is a design tool that a lot of people are familiar with, as well as like Illustrator, kind of the Adobe family. A lot of people like Illustrator because you can do vector art and then you can expand it and make it much, much larger versus Photoshop, which primarily gives you the ability to only do raster art, which you have to save it at the dimension that you want to use it at. If you make it larger, it will pixelate. The dots per inch will be fewer and fewer as the larger it gets. But both of those are, we use a lot of Photoshop. We also use an Illustrator in our business, but then there's a whole bunch of free alternatives to Photoshop. We discussed them in episode 28, free Photoshop alternatives, at least in the
point of interest we did.
Point of interest part. Yeah.
Yeah.
So go back and listen to 28 if you want to hear about tools like Photopea and GIMP and those types of things. And then I already let the cat out of the bag on this one, but the virtual assistant option, like through Fiverr or, onlinejobs.ph. What's the other one that everyone talks about? Upwork. That's the one. Yeah. And there's others. Yeah. There's tons of other opportunities to hire VAs and good VAs. I recently found a really good designer on Fiverr that is relatively inexpensive. And I think I'm going to continue to utilize her gig. And, don't tell Fiverr, but I might try to, do something outside of Fiverr so she gets all of the money as opposed to having to share some of it with Fiverr. That's the one thing I don't like about Upwork and Fiverr and all those.
Sure.
And I really appreciate about onlinejobs.ph. But anyway, I told everyone where you were, Josiah. So, the cat's out of the bag, but I've been talking a long time. So
yeah. All right.
Well, go ahead and start talking.
Everyone knows.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not. I don't need to.
And the more you know. Well, okay. So we've got another tool you can use is research software. And the reason these are maybe not vital, but the reason they're beneficial is because it kind of helps steer your design efforts. It helps you figure out what's selling, what's trending, is there a demand? And so you're not just kind of, given where pissing in the wind, you are actually having having a focus. You know what people are looking for. You're finding those niches or those super niches, or you're able to really concentrate into what is in demand that will help you.
Right.
So, and there's tons of them out there. I know one just because we've got a good relationship with Neil from Merchant Former. So Merchant Former is one of those that is very, very helpful in finding
Sales Samurai is also one of Neil's, and it's more focused on the Etsy side of things, where Merchant Former's more focused on Amazon Merch on Demand. They still are great research tools for sure.
Absolutely. And then you have eRank, which is similarly another research tool that you can use. You've got Everbee as well that you can use to find out what's trending, what's happening. And then there's, there's Pretty Merch as well that you can use. And you already mentioned Sales Samurai. So all of these we actually have links to on our resource page. It is an affiliate link, so should you choose to use the software, we would get a little bit of a kickback that would just obviously go back into funding the show and supporting the show that way. But you get the lion's share of the benefit here because you'll have these tools at your disposal to help research and kind of dial in your design efforts as well.
Yeah. research software, I mean, like you said, it's not absolutely needed, but again, it can shorten the time that you start and can see some success. And because you are actually finding things that maybe are not quite as proliferated through those sales channels, you design niches and things like that. That's what you're really kind of researching and trying to find. Where can I hit the market and hit the ground running? Because maybe there's a lot of searches, but there's not as many people actually serving that demographic. Well, I want to serve that demographic. So the next one is mock-up software. And technically you can use your design software for this. And, there's a couple of them here that we didn't actually talk about that are technically design software, like Kittle. Kittle is a great design tool, but they also have some mock-up capabilities. Vexels, we had a show way back with who was it? What was his name? Oh gosh, starts with a G.
Hold on.
We're not going to cut this either. So,
Nope. Hero. I don't. Yep. GERO.
That's
episode
him.
45.
And
here we go. That's the one.
Anyway, Vexels is really super cool. They have like a lot of mock-up stuff. They also have mock-up templates, like Photoshop templates that you can have the smart object and all of that.
Yeah.
They also have designs that are Photoshop editable and a lot of really cool things that are happening with Vexels. Another one that's not necessarily going to, another one that is actually absolutely amazing is Placeit by Envato.
Yes.
It's basically just a website. You upload your artwork, or you find a cool image that you're like, oh, I like that model or that, where the coffee is sitting, that lifestyle photo. You select it, you upload your photo, and it just magically puts it on there, and it has all of the smart object stuff. So, you can see the shadows and the curvature of the mug or whatever you're looking at. Very, very cool, easy to use, software. It is one at a time. If you want to do it in bulk, I recommend Bulk Mockup, which is a Photoshop plugin. So you need to be using Photoshop, but it's a Photoshop plugin that will do thousands of mockups at a time. And like in the course of an hour, it can do 1,000, and output them all to, your folder on your computer. It's very, very cool. And then the last one I'll mention here, while it's not a mockup software, technically, it has tons of mockups. It also has tons of designs. It has PSD editable designs. It also has ancillary images. So if you need like a size chart for a particular brand of t-shirt or hoodie or something like that, has pretty much everything you can think of. More manly ones, more feminine ones, more just generic ones, all kinds of supplemental images and things like that. And that's, of course, Creative Fabrica. And right now, if you're in the Facebook group, Creative Fabrica sent me a thing and said, hey, we're giving away all of these font packages and design packages every single day until Easter. And so in our Facebook group, I have a thread that I started, and every day I'm trying to every day, but I'm posting a link. And these are affiliate links, but I'm posting these links, but they're free. You don't have to buy anything. You can get them for free, download them, hundreds of fonts, hundreds of designs, and every single day, they're going to be there. And it's just yet another reason to join our community, printondemandcast.com/Facebook. And you can see that post. If you're not, if you're Creative Fabrica subscriber already, you can get all these for free anyway. But if you're not, you want to just test it out, see kind of what are some options out there. It's a great way to kind of dip your toe in the water. Because Creative Fabrica is one of my favorites. It's so inexpensive. I think right now they're running a sale. It's $4.99 a month if you buy the whole year.
Yeah.
It's like, so ridiculous. It's like $60
that's awesome
for the entire year. And you have literally millions of graphics and fonts and mock-ups and ancillary images and, all of the things. So, okay.
Yeah.
Whew, that's a big one. That's a big one.
There's a lot. There's a lot of resources there. The next one, again, you don't have to have it. It's probably good to have bookkeeping software. I know I used QuickBooks. Travis, you use QuickBooks too, or do you use something different in terms of a bookkeeping software?
We've always used
Is that what you use?
Zero.
That's right.
Yeah. We were using Zero because there was I don't remember when I started actually in retail arbitrage. There was a way to kind of match your cost of goods, and there was I was using Inventory Lab, and there was a way to like import all of that information kind of automatically through a third-party software. So I was using that. It just made it really easy. But we've always used Zero. But yeah, again, you don't have to have this. You could theoretically record all of your transactions in a spreadsheet, but that would require downloading all your bank statements and then kind of reconciling. Whereas Zero and QuickBooks and the like, there's others out there, FreshBooks, there's others out there, but they will integrate with your checking account, your business checking
credit card accounts, or
they'll pull it all in, and then you just go, oh, that's cost of goods. Oh, that was a software subscription. That was, and you basically just tell it which account it goes in, and then you can run, your profit and loss statement, your balance sheet at the end of the year, give it to your, CPA, and they're like, thank you. And they're not, looking through receipts and you're not looking through receipts and trying to figure it all out. So is it needed? Maybe not.
Is it nice?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I have in my day job, I'm a private contractor. So I'm tracking all of this for myself and expenses and that kind of stuff. And the thing I do like about QuickBooks as well, and I'm sure other softwares have it, but I have a CPA, and I can actually invite my CPA, my accountant, to have access to my QuickBooks, so she can go in there at the end of the year or, quarterly and say, yep, got it. You pull all the reports, or, yep, everything looks categorized correctly. You're going to, or go do this, go fix that. So like those types of things, features are nice to have as well, which again, a CPA is another thing that you don't have to have, but at a certain point, it might be nice if you don't like doing all that math yourself and trying to figure out how to file your taxes yourself and all that kind of stuff is
and to maximize your deductions too.
Yeah, exactly. And because for someone like me, I would rather there's so many things I'd rather do than figure out pay taxes so having someone to help with that is incredibly advantageous. The next thing you'll need obviously is a print partner, right? And so there's two types here, Travis, right? There's the royalty based versus seller of record based. And royalty based, you're looking at your stuff like Merch on Demand, which is Amazon. Redbubble again is royalty based, where you're getting a percentage of the sale that had your design on it. And then there's seller of record based, which is like your Shopify stores, or Etsy, I guess technically, you're the seller of record as well. But that's something that, again, but depending on what you're doing, you'll have to have one. Unless you're doing Merch on Demand, then you don't need a print partner for Amazon, because they take care of it all as well, right? So
the thing you're going to need if you're doing the seller of record is you are going to need some type of like a credit card on file or a debit card or something for that print partner. So it's technically free until you make a sale. And sometimes what happens is that you'll have to pay for, even though you've sold it, it'll go to Etsy, and Etsy's going to hold it until your payout, or Amazon is going to hold it until your payout. So you have to pay for that for them to start printing it. And they're going to debit your card for the printing and the shipping. So technically it's not free, although you have a bank of money that is owed to you, and it'll probably come back to you before the credit card is due. But that's something you need to, kind of work out and figure out. So is it free? Kinda. It's pseudo free to use, and that's for the seller of record. Obviously, if you're doing the royalty based, you don't have to pay anything because they're only giving you a royalty anyway. All of the money's going to them, and then they're just paying you a royalty. So that really truly is free. And that's like the Redbubbles and the TeePublics and we always say the same. We need to figure out some more royalty based. We just don't do that a lot. We do a lot of merch by Amazon, and but that's really, for me, that's really kind of where stops as far as the royalty based
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, for sure. The next thing you'll need, this is one of those that you're going to have is a sales platform. Where are you going to sell this stuff? Is it Etsy? Is it merch on demand? Is it your own Shopify store? Is it Redbubble? Like you're going to have somewhere where the transactions take place. So that's one of those things where it's when you're talking about musts, this is a must.
Right.
You have to have a sales platform. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to actually make any money.
It could even be Facebook Marketplace. It could be local,
right?
But it's still technically a sales platform. A garage sale is a sales platform.
Sure.
Yes, exactly. Like what you said, this is a must. If you're going to sell something, you have to have somewhere to sell it, and it's likely going to be, an Etsy, an Amazon, a Walmart, a Shopify, but I know people who have sold a lot of product on Mercari and Facebook Marketplace and some of those other ones that are more local. Again, most of those don't necessarily cost anything until you make a sale. They may take a percentage or something like that. But again, they're taking it out of the payout that they're going to give you. So you're still ahead of the game. You're still in the green if you price right. I mean, I do know. Where the next one, I want to tell a story, so I'm just going to jump ahead of the next one. The next one's actually advertising, and advertising is, I think it's required on Etsy after you, sell a certain amount. I can't remember. I knew this information, but I can't think of it. But they require you to at least do $1 a day on Etsy. Shopify, or I'm sorry, Amazon and Walmart don't require it, but I do some. Some advertising on Amazon, not as much on Walmart. I only do it during the holidays. And then on Shopify, that's really probably the only way you're going to get traffic, unless you have, unless you're using like influencer marketing or something, like a social media channel that you've really built up and you can drive traffic that way. Otherwise, you're going to probably have to use advertising. But the reason I wanted to mention the advertising is because I know a guy who sold over Christmas. They sold, I don't know, maybe even 1,000 plus of a particular product that they were driving a lot of traffic to through ads. And every time, they didn't realize this until afterwards, but every time they sold something, they lost $1 by the time that the sales channel took their cut, and what they were paying for like the customer acquisition cost. So how much does it cost to get a customer to click on your link? And there's a lot of, information you can find out about that. The Facebook ads tell you exactly how much it costs, per customer acquisition, but they just were so busy with Q4 stuff, they ignored it, and they didn't come back and like tweak their bids and like, their keywords and try to get it to where it was actually profitable. And so after Christmas, they realized, oh my gosh, we lost hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on this product because we sold it. It was awesome, but we lost money every single time. So the reason I say that is because all they had to do is raise their price $1 and they would have broken even. Wow. When we were talking about pricing earlier. So make sure that you're pricing, that you're taking in all of the factors of your, how much it costs you to acquire a customer and get the product to the customer. Because it's not just the sales channel commission, it's also the advertising, it's also the cost, the vendor cost, and all of that stuff too.
Right. Yep. So the next part would be a payment gateway. And again, this is kind of circumstantial depending on where you are selling, right? Etsy, you're not really going to need to worry about that. They have the payment gateway. Amazon has a payment gateway. But if you're having your own site, if you are doing, Facebook Marketplace, there has to be a way for you to receive payment somehow. And so you're looking like at a Stripe or a Stripe equivalent in terms of software that will allow people to enter in credit card information or, link their PayPal. A lot of people I discovered like to do that with PayPal, just use their PayPal balance for the PayPal account to pay. But the one thing to keep in mind as well is that there's processing fees with most of these payment gateways. So they're going to charge a percentage per transaction, which is how they make their money. So that's something to keep in mind as well.
Yeah. I'm actually testing out a new private label, a new print on demand vendor. And the way they do their print on demand is that they make you they basically hold your money. So you have to top up your account, so to speak. And then every time you sell, they'll take some from it, and they use Payoneer. And so in order to pay them, you can do a quick transfer, which is like 4%. So if I give them $100, they're only going to get 96, and $4 is going to go to Payoneer. But they do have some free options with, but there's some hoops to jump through and some verification and all of that. But to your point, there, all of these, PayPal too, if it's not your PayPal balance and you are charging it, so to speak, they are most likely going to take a percentage of that total, and either make you pay more for what you're buying or give the vendor less for what you're buying. One of those two things is going to happen. So again, factor that into your pricing. If you're using one of these services to transfer money around or take payment or whatever it is. And then the last one, that you absolutely need to start, that I don't think anybody talks about it costing anything, is your freaking time, man.
Yeah.
It's going to take time. And how much is your time worth? You've heard the term opportunity cost. And what that means is how much is the opportunity to do something else costing me to do this thing? So in other words, if I'm going to do print on demand and it's going to take me 10 hours this week or 20 hours or however many hours you want to say it's going to take you, what is the opportunity I'm saying no to? What opportunities could I make potentially more money by spending that 10 to 20 hours on something else? Maybe I just go Uber.
Right.
That's an opportunity cost, and nobody factors that in. I could go make $20 an hour, for 10 hours a week. I could make $200 extra this week if I didn't do print on demand. That means that by doing print on demand, you're costing yourself to the opportunity cost of $200. Now, Uber is not residual. You're going to, you don't keep making money like print on demand. And you could say the opportunity cost of doing Uber is higher because of the potential of print on demand. You see how it goes there? So I just don't see people talking about their time being of any value at all when they factor all of these things in. And unfortunately, we have limited, that is our most valuable resource, your time. That's why we preach getting a VA, because your time is valuable and you have more opportunity to do things when you hire somebody, for $5 an hour in the Philippines or whatever it is. You can take that hour and make 20 or make 50 or 100 or whatever it is. And so opportunity cost is a real thing, even though it doesn't seem real, because it's just opportunity you're losing. It's not the actual money. But that opportunity would have paid you money, and you have to factor that in to what it takes cost-wise to do a print-on-demand business.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of people don't talk about the cost of time, and that's one thing that you're going to be, one of those things, to your point, you're going to be spending your time doing something. So it's important to figure out what that cost is. And so in the end, in this conversation, you don't technically need any of this to start. However, there are some things, again, that we covered that you do absolutely have to have. So if we're going to kind of just boil it all down into things that you have to have, would be a computer, internet, design software, a sales platform, a print partner, and your time. And is all of that free? No, but it's that's the lowest barrier.
It can be,
I guess. Right.
Yeah.
If you already have a computer, if you already have, if you're already having that part of it, design softwares can be free. Sales platforms can be free as well. So it's potential to be free, but those are the things that you absolutely have to have to get things started and kind of get this off of the ground. So Travis, anything else before we put a bow on this one and wrap it up?
I don't think so. I really do think that like you say, you can start this for free. It is possible, but I guarantee the moment you get into it and you start watching, the YouTubes, and you listen to the podcasts, and you're thinking about how to be more efficient, because that's what we're programmed to do in business. As entrepreneurs, we want to be more efficient. And so we are going to weigh the opportunity cost for some of these tools.
Right.
We're going to say, well, if I buy this tool for $25 a month, or, $100 a month, or whatever, will that save me $100 of my time? And a lot of times the answer is yes. But at the same time, you also have to factor in, well, my business isn't mature enough to handle $100 a month. So I'm going to have to put my time in until I can afford that. But the moment you can afford that, it's going to spring your business forward, guaranteed, if you use those tools right. Now, if you're constantly just looking for tools and adding tools, and that doesn't help anybody. That's just shiny object syndrome. But if you have a plan, you go into it with a plan, you think about the opportunity cost, you think about what you could be doing instead of doing XYZ, building mock-ups, or, whatever it is, doing the research manually versus what like an Everbee would give you. You're going to start seeing, wow, I can really fast forward my progress with some of these tools, and the opportunity cost is low enough for me that it makes sense to invest in these things. So yes, you can start it for free. You're not going to stay free for very long, because you're going to see the opportunity with some of these tools.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys have any questions, again, don't hesitate to reach out. If you have any other thing that maybe we missed that is essential or is free that you need to start up a print-on-demand business, just let us know. We'd love to interact with you guys. And if you want more information, tips, tricks, tidbits, tools, and insights, you can sign up for our VIP newsletter by going to printondemandcast.com/VIP. You'll get additional insight into things that we talk about on the show. Maybe there'll be some things that we don't touch on in the weekly show, but will only live in the newsletter. You'll probably see some exclusive content from Travis's trip to New Jersey and the impression show, and more information about the new Epson DTG hybrid printer, all of that just by signing up, giving us your email there. And in exchange, we will give you an annual design calendar, which is a free tool that you can use in your business to kind of chart out and plan what you should be anticipating in terms of events, holidays, things that are coming up that you're going to want to design for, put on t-shirts, put on your mugs, tea towels, whatever it is that you guys have in your stores. But it's just a free tool in exchange for your email that we will send to you. And Travis, you had said if people haven't gotten that particular design calendar, they're to just respond to one of the emails and say, hey, no design calendar yet. Where is it? And we can send it to them in case they somehow got missed or fell through the crack there.
Exactly. Yep. We appreciate you guys. We thank you for, you listening to us, your support of us. And someone just recently said something in the Facebook group about, why do you like these podcasts? And I thought that was really nice.
Yeah.
I was really kind of disappointed that, only one other person responded, but hey,
I will say on that note, it was it was Chops Cards and Print on Demand, because I saw this come through, and whether the number one reason was wrestling fan. So they said fans. There's only one, not Travis, me. So I will take credit for that. This person's been a fan since they were 6 years old-ish. Same. That's awesome. But yeah, that was really nice. Thank you for popping in the group and leaving that as well.
Yep.
So
and
greatly.
I'll just say, if anybody else wants to stroke our egos by answering that Facebook post, it wouldn't hurt my feelings.
No, it wouldn't. We would be greatly appreciative of that as well. So it was great being on here, giving you guys brand new content. Looking forward to being back next week, hitting the highlights of the Impression Expo from New Jersey and everything in between. And until then, for Travis, I'm Josiah. We'll see you right here on the Print on Demand cast.
See ya.
Hey babe, thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Print on Demand Cast. We hope you enjoyed the Totally Tubular Show. If you got a question or a suggestion for the show, send Travis and Josiah an email at info@printondemandcast.com. Want to be wicked nice? Take a minute to rate and review the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe now so you don't miss next week's episode. See you next time, for sure.
In a world where businesses everywhere are trying to make print-on-demand sales, one podcast goes above and beyond every week to bring the most POD-specific information there is, all to help save the day, every day. Don't succumb to the enemies of your print-on-demand business. Sign up today for the Print on Demand Cast VIP email at printondemandcast.com/VIP. This time, it's for real.